This example comes out of section 8.3, Laws of Logarithms. This question is about sound, and sound is measured often in decibels. Most of us have heard of decibels, although we might not know what the scale looks like. So just to give you a rough idea of some sounds that you might know, the threshold of hearing is considered to be at 0 decibels. That's this I0, the sound of maybe the barely perceptible sound. A whisper, for example, is 20 decibels. So a 20 decibel sound would be a whisper. 60 decibels, quite a bit louder, would be a regular conversation. Louder than that, 85 decibels would be a chainsaw. People recommend, hearing experts and whatever, recommend you wear protection if you start to get exposed to sounds that loud. 110 decibels would be if you have your iPod or something on maximum, your MP3, MP4 player, whatever it is you've got going on. 120 decibels would be a rock concert. Obviously, it depends how far you are from speakers and stuff. And then 150 decibels, starting to really require extreme amounts of hearing protection, not to go deaf and getting exposed to sound that loud. 150 decibels. So the question we're asked how many times as loud is the rock concert compared to the chainsaw. Now we do have a formula given to us, and again, similar to a Richter scale question or some other weird word problem example, that will usually give you the equation that goes with it. You're not expected to know decibel equation, but we do have, that for example for the rock concert, 120 decibels should equal 10 times the log of I over I0. Now again, I0 is this threshold sound that we're comparing everything to. If I solve that a little bit, 120 divided by 10 is 12, equals log of the intensity of our rock concert divided by our initial intensity. So 10 to the 12 is IR over I0, or in other words, the rock concert is 10 to the 12 times as loud as I0. Now if I do a similar setup calculation for the chainsaw, it starts off the same way. I can probably skip a step in the middle here to say, okay, that's going to be 10 to the 8.5 equals I of the chainsaw over I0. So the intensity of the chainsaw is 10 to the 8.5 times I0. So if I want to compare one of these to the other, if I divide the intensity of the rock concert divided by the intensity of the chainsaw, we'll discover that 10 to the 12 I0 over 10 to the 8.5 I0. The I0s are irrelevant, they cancel out anyway. What we have is 10 to the 3.5. You can calculate that and it gives you a little over 3,162 times as loud, or times as intense the sound is for the rock concert compared to the chainsaw. Important to note that this is again a logarithmic scale, so one tick on a log scale does not mean the same thing as a linear type of scale. In this scale, it actually means every 10 decibels turns out to be a factor of 10 for 10 times as loud. So 10 to the 3.5 is 3,162 times as loud a sound.